How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another Community Crunch. And today we are taking a look at the Megaraptor at last with its Dossier released. So, welcome to another edition of Community Crunch. This week we're giving you a closer look at the terror to soon be stalking Valguero's shadows, Megaraptor. Don't expect pack tactics. This solitary slasher lives for the hunt, picking off prey with chilling precision and a glare that sends would-be rescuers fleeing. If it locks eyes on you, don't expect a rescue. If it pounces, it's already too late. The Megaraptor will descend upon ARK for free with the launch of Valguero Ascended, created by the prolific Narcotis later this year. Introducing everyone's favorite bushwhacking butcher, the bone-breaking Megaraptor. Well, try saying that 10 times fast. So, Megaraptor, late Cretaceous carnivore, temperament solitary aggressive. That sounds like a new type of temperament to me. So, in the wild, trust me, you don't want one of these creepy killers hunting you. Megaraptor picks off its victims one at a time, like the villain in an old school slasher flick. And once you've been targeted, your stalker will scare away your friends and allies with its unnerving glare. Interesting. Okay, that sounds cool. You won't see this monster coming until it's right on top of you. That's when Megaraptor pounces, pinning you down and scattering everyone nearby to leave you defenseless. Talk about a jump scare. The final indignity is that your death will give this beast the strength to shrug off any attempt to avenge you. Whoa! So this thing will get like a buff or something every time it kills something. Dang, and that's... Oh my gosh, we are getting some horror added to ARK. Domesticated. Before you can tame one, you'll have to earn its respect. Okay, so we have another mini game we have to do. Oh, I hate these mini game taming methods. This one better be easy. Find and claim its grisly altar of carcasses, then keep the enraged owner at bay with fire. Just make sure you stay on a constant swivel, because this fiend will fight like hell for its trophies. Manage to break one of these butchers and you'll share all the meat from its many kills. You'll also gain an assassin eager to isolate and murder your enemies. But know that Megaraptor hunts alone, okay? Uncomfortable around even its own kind. This army of one will lose its fighting edge around us. Whoa, so you cannot create an army. So it'll get a debuff if it's around other Megaraptor. Whoa, so this is not a boss fight creature unless it's going in solo. Dang, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So it'll probably get like a debuff just from being around other Megaraptor? That's interesting. Huh. So I guess you can only have them around when you're breeding them. But afterwards you need to separate them. Interesting. So, Grisly Altar of Carcasses. So I assume it'll have some sort of nest. And then you have to play a game at its nest, I guess. Kind of like Gigantoraptor, I guess. I don't know. And it's going to be an assassin eager to isolate and take out your enemies. but it's a loner, so it likes to do all of its stuff solo. Interesting. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. So it kind of like, so interesting. So it's an introvert. I have never heard of a creature in ARK that is an extreme introvert. That's cool to know. But moving on to the live ops updates. We've just pushed out a Steam client patch that should resolve most cases where player character structures, creature landscape, and other game objects would become invisible or flicker. Thank you. This client fix is also actively going through certification on both console and will be pushing it live as soon as it releases, hopefully over the weekend, fingers crossed. This has been quite the technical maze, so we'll be monitoring closely and making tweaks if further cases of invisibility appear. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that has been so frustrating for me. Basilosaurus spawn rates have also been increased slightly in today's patch, so you can go and grab your blubber. Okay. We'll keep an eye on them and adjust further if needed. And as a note to Xbox, today's client version increased your mod capacity by an additional 10 gigabytes to a max of 60. Okay. Some users may find that they have a one-off re-download of all of their mods as a consequence. Okay. I do not play Xbox, so that does not concern me. We've got a major version update planned for next week that addresses a number of long-standing pain points. While not everything below is included in that release, we want to keep you in the loop on where things stand, especially for the most reported issues. Labyrinth, Spirit Bear, and Wolf spawn issues. Okay. Yeah, that was a bit of an issue for me when I did my cheesing the Labyrinth video. Astreus OSD build radius changes scheduled for next week's update. Ankylosaurus and Didicarus continuing to harvest while slot capped, also when carried by Karkanos. Exploit fixes that specifically tie to PvP. The less we share on these, the better. Wouldn't want more folks actively taking advantage of them right now. Frustrating issue where you could accidentally throw off your shoulder pad. Luckily, I haven't had that issue yet. Fingers crossed. Quality of life. Add quick select structure feature while placing a structure. While placing a structure, can ping other structures to start placing them. Drakeling will now correctly apply the loot crate bonus for unofficial servers that have higher than default loot quality. And Speedy Harvester no longer incorrectly plays the activation sound. Okay, and many more. And we're currently working through the following reports with the hope to bring them to next week's release or as soon as possible. PlayStation mod storage upgrade and wild creature overspawns and in the mesh on Ragnarok. Interesting. What constitutes an overspawn? I've been experiencing appropriate and underspawns. I guess maybe ice wyverns are overspawning, because I did notice ice wyverns that are not near nests there's just a huge amount of them, but ones that are near nest locations, there's either never a wyvern there or there's just one and there's no egg because there's not one of the opposite gender to mate with it. So yeah, that's just a snapshot. Okay. Summer rates are continuing through the 21st. Those are the rates right there. And then we go on to the community corner. So yeah, and then the fan art, which of course I love. It never gets old, because it's always so creative. Digital painting. That looks, oh my gosh, until the mountain you can tell is a painting, but everything else like looks so real to begin with. But then when you pay closer attention to the obelisk, you can tell, oh yeah, that's a painting. Everything else looks like photo mode except for that bit of the mountain and then that bit of the obelisk. But that was good. Surfing. And then here we go, photo mode. Yeah. Oh, you're a girl dragon. It's too funny. More Dread Stallion. And then more Griffin. Alright. Enjoy your weekend. So that does it for this week's ARK news. And yeah, another good thing about Valguero that the team is doing right. Notice that there is not a release date. It says later this year. There is not a precise release date yet. Which, here's the thing, which is actually a good thing, because they're not getting our hopes up. Because we're like, oh, it's gonna release on September 20th or something like that. And, you know, getting our hopes up, and then September 20th rolls around. Yeah, we're gonna have to push back. You know, so I really like that. I think the release date honestly shouldn't be announced until maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks at most before time. I don't know. I would honestly experiment, because, and the reason I would experiment with Valguero is because it's not as popular as Ragnarok. It was never as popular as Ragnarok. It's a popular map, but it was never as popular as Ragnarok. So I would be willing to gamble with it. Gamble with announcing a release date right before it actually drops. Which I would find appropriate, and for me personally, I still see it coming out either in late September or early October. That's honestly what I see it coming out before Fear Evolved, just so the team can address any issues with the Valguero launch before Fear Evolved, because Fear Evolved, they're gonna have to patch, you know, issues with that. But, you know, there are always more issues with a new map release as opposed to a event. You know, there are issues with events, but there are always more issues with maps. But yeah, that does it for this week's ARK news. I'll talk more about a few Valguero speculations I've come up with lately. Later on, when Valguero becomes an even heavier topic. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.